Morning everyone. A couple of days ago I was reading through Hebrews. I've been reading Hebrews for Everyone by Tom Wright, and there was a passage that really spoke to me and hopefully will speak to you through the situations we're going through at the moment. It's entitled Hold On Tight, and it's Hebrews 3:14 to 19, so I'm just going to read that for you. We share the life of the Messiah, you see, only if we keep a firm, tight grip on our original confidence right through to the end. That's what it means when it says, today, if you hear his voice, don't make your hearts hard, as in the great bitterness. Who was it, after all, who heard and then became bitter? It was all those who went out of Egypt under Moses, wasn't it? And who was it that God was angry with for 40 years? It was all those who sinned, wasn't it? Those whose bodies fell in the desert? And to whom did God swear that they would never enter his rest? Wasn't it the people that didn't believe? So we can see that it was their unbelief that prevented them from entering. Now, what spoke to me was the fact that Tom Wright used the analogy of falling asleep at the wheel of a car. And it just took me back around about 20 years or so to when I used to commute up to Tamworth every day, which was an hour and 10 minutes. And that was a pretty tough journey, M42, M5, and it was especially tough in the summer when it was warm and when I'd had a hard day at work. I'd had to get up early and I was coming back on the motorway, and I think I was overconfident in my ability to stay awake at the wheel. Luckily, praise God, I never actually fell asleep at the wheel, but there were times when it became very close, and there were times where you know you should really be pulling over to the side of the road to get some fresh air. But that temptation would come. There would be, just close your eyes, you're on a nice straight bit, there's not much around, you know, you can just close your eyes for a couple of seconds and you'll be fine. But obviously that couple of seconds could lead to, you actually falling asleep and then you never waking up again. So how does that relate to the Hebrews passage I've just read? Well, there are times, I think, when there is this temptation, this whisper that just comes along and says, take a break. It doesn't matter if you give in to a temptation. It doesn't matter if you perhaps ignore God for a little bit. It doesn't matter if if you take your eyes off God, like taking your eyes off the road. I suppose really, for me, that happens at the end of a term. So usually in term time, as a teacher, it's very difficult to get to the end of a term, and by the end you feel somehow entitled to a break. You know, as teachers do like our holidays, and we need them. But what sort of break is it going to be? It's very easy to think, right, well, I'm entitled now, I'm going to have some me time, I'm going to do what I want to do, I'm going to perhaps, and especially as you go out of the routine, I'm not going to spend so much time with God, I'm not going to pray, I'm not necessarily going to care for people, because you can become a little bit selfish, I think, and you can start perhaps even doing things God wouldn't want you to do. But Hebrews basically tells us in verse 14 that we need to keep a firm, tight grip on our original confidence. We need to make sure that if we feel in this temptation we can't overcome this temptation, then we need to stop the car and get out and get some fresh air. I think my temptation is to think, well, it's my time, and actually I want to do things without God, and that can lead to disaster, because that's where in verse 15 it says, your hearts will become hard and bitter. And especially in these times when the routine may have disappeared, you may feel a little bit depressed because you're not able to see people, you're not able to do the things you want to do. The loneliness maybe, there's this temptation that comes from, what's the point? Where is God anywhere? God may be quite far away. So, you know, Hebrews just encourages us to keep a firm, tight grip on our original confidence. And so my encouragement is, well, let's keep our eyes on God. Let's keep our eyes on the road. And, you know, sometimes we might need to take a break, and we are tired. But let's not take a break from God. Let's take a break with God. Let's actually go and find Him, stop the car and get the fresh breath of perhaps His Spirit into our lungs again, that we can continue our journey. Taking time out in the retreat, or just in a few hours, or just even you know, chatting with friends about some of the things that you're tired of, maybe. So especially at this time, with all the changes and the sort of the temptations, I think, to get a little bit depressed, especially as we're not able to communicate so easily with others. We're having to keep our social distancing. Maybe there's anxieties about jobs. Maybe we've got more time on our hands because we've been furloughed, or maybe actually our jobs have just doubled in the amount of work that we're expected to do. Whatever it is, and the changes to the routine and the changes to normality of life can sort of get us to the point where that temptation comes. Take a break. But let's not fall into that temptation, because verse 15 does warn us that we need to get ourselves awake again, otherwise our hearts will become hard and bitter. Let's not let our hearts become hard and bitter. Let's keep close to God. Let's take a break with Him. And I just encourage you, keep on holding firm. Keep on holding tight, as it says in verse 14. Keeping that firm, tight grip on our original confidence in Him. Because He is faithful. He will see us through this. And, you know, it's important that we just stay close to Him, so that we get that refreshing air that we might need to carry on our journey. I hope that's blessed you. It challenged and blessed me, and I pray that you'll be blessed through it. Amen.